is on a Saturday early afternoon in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the visiting Akron Zips travel to Crisler Center to take on the number 6 ranked Michigan Wolverines in a women's basketball game. Michigan playing their first game since last week, a Sunday victory against Purdue, 104-56, a margin of 48 points, Michigan's largest victory over a Big Ten opponent in the history of this program. 5 players in that game had double digits: Olivia Olson, Silas Swords, Mila Holloway, Tayala DeFoss, and also Dudley rounding out the 5. When you look at Michigan Wolverines under Kim Barnes-Arico, in the history of this program, they've made 13 tournament appearances. 9 have been under Barnes-Arico, and this is arguably the best team she's had yet. With their highest ranking since they were ranked number 4 in the AP poll in the 2021-2022 season. If you look at Michigan this season, they're off to a historic start. They've topped the 100-point mark 4 times already this season, and we're looking for a 5th today. That's already the most 100-point games they've scored in a season in the program history, the 1996 and 2016 having 3 apiece. When you look at the metrics, it's saying this only loss is to the number 1 team in the country, UConn, and they've dominated every other opponent. So, name's Cleo Washington, also joined by Taryn Ryan on this broadcast. Taryn, when we look at this Michigan team, this dominant start to the season, what are some of the reasons you'd say why they've been so successful early on?
First of all, they just have a lot of strong players who are constantly putting up double-digit points, as you said, Silas Swords, Mila Holloway. And they are quick and have great communication. A lot of them are returning and they're working really well together, and that's contributing to their success. Also, just as another fact, this is a really tall team, so they're really having a good time getting rebounds at the basket because they can just get up there.
Yes, absolutely. And you look at this opponent specifically, the Akron Zips. They are representing the Mid-America Conference. They come to this game with 1-7 record against the number 16 in the country with a record of 8-1. This is Michigan's 2nd time facing a MAC opponent this season. They defeated Central Michigan earlier this year, 82-40. Michigan's on a 3-game win streak against the Akron Zips, and they lead the series all-time 6-1, including a 96-55 victory last season. So we'll certainly look to see if Michigan can extend their program record and get a 5th 100-point game this early afternoon. As you see now, the starting lineups are being introduced here at Crisler. We have an alumni band today consisting of veterans of the Michigan program, and they are playing the victors. We are about to get underway here at Crisler Center. Take a look at now the projected starting lineups for Michigan: Olivia Olson, Mila Holloway, Silas Swords. We're joined by Brooke Quarles-Daniels and Ashley Solfacanic. And if you look at the starting lineup for the Akron Zips: Shayna Brew, Corrine Reed, Monique Mitchell, Kieran McDuff, and Elisa Tampanen rounding out the starting 5. This is an elite Michigan offense, averaging 92.8 points per game, 1st in the Big Ten and 6th in the nation. Tip-off is underway, and it will go to the visiting Zips. Shayna Brew has it near midcourt. Solfacanic pressing. Finds an outlet. It's Corrine Reed. Kicks out. Here's a triple, and that one is going to be just short, and Michigan will have the basketball. Olivia Olson, the inbounder. Inbounds it to Mila Holloway. Holloway takes it up court. Patient dribbling. Holloway just off target. The Swords able to prevent it from going to the back court. Quarles-Daniels, her first touch of the night, and this pass goes out of bounds. It will remain with the Wolverines. This time Holloway will serve as the inbounder. Finds Olson. Holloway gets separation, puts up the 2 and hits. Mila Holloway gets the scoring started today for the Michigan Wolverines. We see now Akron look for a response. Nice move in space by Shayna Brew. Finds Reed again. And tapping in. Here's another corner three. Mitchell this time is off, and Michigan has it going up court. Olivia Olson, nice dribbling. Top near the free throw line, in and out on the 2-point attempt. Brew, nice dribbles from her early on. Able to find her teammate in the corner. Akron retains possession. Nice move right there in space by Reed. Break gets Holloway and Whistler early on display. And Michigan will take possession of the basketball.
So far, we've seen some really good fast play. Michigan's defense is really strong. There's always at least 2-on-1, and it's looking good so far.
It is. Here's Mila Holloway now. Fast break. Finds Corliss Daniels, too strong. Doesn't get the basket, but will pick up the foul.
To the line, shooting 2, Wolverines, number 5,
Corliss Daniels now at the line. One of one. She goes 2-2 as Michigan leads 4-0 with 8.5 minutes left to go in this opening period. See Reed now able to find McGuff, center of the court. Holloway on her. Find the outlet. Swords now in defense. Sulfacaning Swords 2-on-1, and they are going to give this ball to Michigan. Olivia Olson will inbounds it.
On the floor for Akron, number 22, Tanisha Clark.
Tanisha Clark has now entered the game for the Akron Zips. Michigan is not substituted yet. Here's Olson. Looking to find someone inside. Said will shoot it herself, and she will score. Olivia Olson, 6-0 lead for Michigan.
That was a great play. Sulfacanik set a pick, and she was able to head straight to the basket.
Here's Michigan's defense now working style with Swords. It's tripped as she heads up court.
Akron foul 22, Tanisha Clark, her first, team's third.
And Swords will now go back out, and instead it'll be Michigan inbounding the ball. Holloway finds Swords, catch a shoot three, just in and out. Michigan remains up 6-0, 7.5 left to go. Opening period. Here's a tough basket inside, able to roll in is Shayna Brew. 6-2 advantage still for Michigan. Sulfacanik inside, too easy. And she gets the layup. 8-2 advantage for Michigan. Here's Akron now. Reed finds it. And this one is stolen right from her. Corliss Daniels. Michigan now getting set. Sulfacanik inside once again, this time from the right side of the glass. Gets the layup, and it's a 10-2 advantage. Timeout called by the Akron Zips.
This play has been really fast from both teams, and that's leading to putting up lots of shots. Sometimes it's a little too fast, so the accuracy hasn't been there, but really a great start. And yeah.
Absolutely. We've seen early on so far in this game, points off turnovers, that's been one of the strengths for this Michigan team. They're averaging 31 points a game this season, points off turnovers, while their opponents are limited to less than 10 points. So certainly we can see that being a major advantage for Michigan early on in this first quarter. Timeout now in the court. You see Michigan with a 10-2 advantage. Scoring has it pretty split. Olson, Holloway, Corliss Daniels have 2 apiece with Sulfacanik in those 4 points inside. So far for Akron, Shayna Brew, only one on the board. And we just look at this Michigan team in general. They're averaging 92 points a game. This first in the Big Ten, 6th in the nation. Look at their field goal percentage. They're 4th in the Big Ten with just over 50% of their shots going in. They're 10th in the nation. So certainly you can see the offensive prowess is one of the reasons why they are ranked where they are, and they are seen as one of the favorites potentially to win a national title later this year, March and April. And we're nearing the end of this timeout period here at Crisler. We mentioned the split scoring so far. Michigan, again, in their last game against Purdue, their first conference game of the season, had 5 players in double digits. Each of the 12 women who reached the court ended up scoring a point. So certainly we see not only is there a very strong team at the top of the roster, we can also see this Michigan team has extreme depth. And we can see this. That'll be especially important as we enter the conference stretch later in this month.
I couldn't agree more. They're very balanced, and every single player is reliable at all times, allowing their defense and offense to be really cohesive.
Here's Akron now with the basketball. Clark has it. Again, Michigan's defense trying to force another turnover. Silas Swords comes away with it. She finds Corals Daniels inside. And it's going to be an offensive foul on Corals Daniels. No basket for Michigan. And Akron gets a second opportunity here. Clark, the inbounder. Clark taking up court. Look at this full court defense right here by the Wolverines. Corals Daniels has the ball on the ground. And it will be a jump ball. Or, excuse me, they're going to give Akron possession. We see right now this full court, half court defense, and Michigan is playing early on. Part of the reason why they're leading the Big Ten with 25.4 turnovers forced per game. And right on cue, actually, Akron able to prevent another turnover being added to Michigan stats. And now they're going to let their offense reset. Shayna Brew, a crafty playmaker from Akron, will shoot a triple. And this one just barely off the mark. Corals Daniels now has it going up court. Holloway finds Olsen from the corner. Unable to follow through. This ball will remain, or switch possessions rather. Oh, no, remain in possession of Wolverines. Still a 10-2 game with just under 6 minutes to go in this first quarter. Corals Daniels looking for an outlet. Silas Swords gets open and unable to get the lay. Here's Shayna Brew now. Almost lost the dribble. And Brew fighting with Olsen as the defender. Picks it out to Reed. Backdoor fine. Layup miss. But good possession right there offensively by the Zips.
That was a good play from Akron there. They really found their spot, not getting cornered like they have been in the past few plays. But again, they've been having some clumsy plays where they try these long shots and they're ever so slightly not sharp enough. And it makes it easy for the Michigan defense to intercept.
That is correct. Clark now at the line. She hits her first. Clark goes 2-2 at the line. Myra Clark, and it's now 10-4 advantage, but quick possession here. Quick bucket from Michigan. Dudley makes it a 12-4 advantage for Michigan. Moving quickly now, easy find for the Akrons. There's a bust in coverage, and Kim Barnes-Arico once the timeout, as Akron has now closed this to a 12-6 game. Timeout now, Crisler Arena, and as you see on that last possession, Michigan able to get a quick basket off an Akron turnover. And Akron, realizing Michigan was not fully set on the other end, was able to get a quick basket of their own. Look at this upcoming schedule for the Michigan Wolverines. They played one game last week, one this week. Their next action will be next Sunday against Oakland before conference play starts at the end of the month against Oregon on the 29th. Michigan now with possession. Olivia Olsen, she likes that spot. Unable to hit here. Rebound goes in the hands of Shayna Brew. And Akron, we'll see if they can continue to cut into this lead. Tough basket. She gets the roll. Shayna Brew, so far, is balling for the Akron Zips. Now 12-8 advantage for Michigan. Holloway let Swords come open. It's Olsen, back to Swords. And they're going to get this foul on Silas Swords. And Akron now with possession with a chance to potentially cut further into this lead. As Macy Brown went out, substituting in the game for Michigan. Swords, LaFosse, Brown, Olsen, and Dudley on the court for the Wolverines. Here's Brew now. Takes LaFosse with her. Hold the basket. Here's Vasicki and dribble. Able to find. Nice block there by Dudley. Michigan prevents a scoring opportunity. LaFosse. Lay too strong. Second effort. It's good. 14-8 advantage for Michigan. You see LaFosse right there able to get the second effort layup. And good after Michigan once again comes away with the ball on a turnover by the Akron Zips. Vasicki now will inbound for Akron. And Callaway will take it up court. LaFosse guarding her once again with full court. Swordsman screaming over. Trying to ruin the rhythm of this Akron offense. This so far has executed pretty well against the Wolverines. Not in that shot though. Vasicki a little too strong on the three. And only a penalty against Akron.
Akron fouls on number 6, Izzy Callaway, first, team's fifth. Wolverines are now in the ball.
15 fouls so far for Akron, 4 for Michigan. CD seems to clean it up as this game progresses.
At the line shooting 2, for your Wolverines, number 43, Taylor Delphos.
Delphos at the line now. It's the first of 2 free throw attempts. Misses the second and will remain a 15-8 advantage for Michigan. And they're going to get a foul on Akron in this possession. Michigan will take possession. Michigan now has it. Macy Brown inside. Her shot, no good. It'll be out of bounds in Akron possession.
That was a great play. Quick, sharp pass. It just seems that Brown stopped a little bit too early, making it hard for her to make the basket.
See what Akron now does with this opportunity. See full court press by Michigan. Able to halt this possession.
Wolverine foul is on number 22, Kendall Butler. For 7,
We see Michigan early on, even if the offense isn't necessarily clicking like it has been in some of their games, the defense is still elite. Michigan currently comes to this game second in the Big Ten, averaging about 14 steals per game. We've seen some steals so far early on in this one. Kieran McGuff at the line for Akron sinks both her free throws, and it's a 15-10 advantage for Michigan. Silas Swords has yet to hit a basket. She passes off to DeFoss. DeFoss pass. Aaron able to be saved. Crockett trying to get to Olsen. A little too strong. Akron with the foul. Will send Olivia Olsen to the line. Olsen sinks her first one. And the second one. It's a 17-10 advantage for Michigan. And now Akron moving it, trying to get past these defenders. 3 at half court. And Michigan's defense forces yet another turnover on Akron's side of the court. See part of the reason why Michigan able to force over 30 turnovers, or get 30 turnovers plus points off turnovers in games this year. A lot of the reason they don't even allow teams to get past their side of the court. Swords misses once again. And this ball will end up with Akron.
Wolverine foul is on number 33, Tiara DeFoss, her first. At the line shooting 2 for Akron, number 22, Tanisha Clark.
Once again, Akron at the free throw line. It was Tanisha Clark. She missed her first. And the second. She goes over 2 at the line. And Akron maintains possession after the misses. Tough, too. Top of the key. That was McGuff working against DeFoss. Quarter triple by Michigan. No good. Akron has possession. Michigan, uncharacteristically, only shooting about 42% from the field, well below their season average of over 50%. And that's allowed Akron to remain competitive in this one, being only a 5-point game, 17-12 advantage as we enter the final 2 minutes of the opening period. Mila Holloway will check back in the game. See if she can lead a spark on the offensive side of the ball for the Wolverines.
This game is uncharacteristic for this team of Wolverines. They're getting a little bit sloppy, and they've put up significantly more shots than Akron has. However, they're just not having that accuracy they normally have on when they're shooting. And Akron, when they are able to get on their side past the Michigan full court press defense, they take that opportunity and have accurate shots, and that's why they're hanging in there.
Michigan 17, Akron 12. See the Michigan Wolverines getting in the groove at the end of this quarter on the offensive side of the ball. Moving inside, that's too easy. And McGuff for Akron, also playing ball. up to 6 points on the evening, and it's a one-possession game. Holloway looking for a spark. 3 no good. Rebound Akron. They could tie it on this possession. Here's Reed. Working. This is the Vasicki in the corner. Olsen guarding. Tough defense there, Olivia Olsen. Vasicki maintains the dribble, and actually she stepped out of bounds. And Michigan forces yet another turnover.
Olsen just put great pressure on Vasicki, not allowing her anywhere out of that corner.
Ashley Solfakanik will check back in for the Wolverines as we enter the final minute and 30 of this first quarter. And Michigan really hasn't been tested a game like this against a non-conference opponent this year, so we see how they respond as far as trying to pick up the pace on the offensive side of the ball. Solfakanik fights Swords, top, and Swords has been uncharacteristically off tonight, but it doesn't matter because Solfakanik on a second chance opportunity scores the layup. Full court defense now from the Wolverines. Akron maintaining possession. Shayna Burton. Dribbling. Solfakanik snatches that one from her. Quarles Daniels on the other end. Nice defensive play by Vasicki to come in and prevent what most surely would have been a layup for Quarles Daniels.
Akron foul is on number 11, Madeline Vasicki, her second. At the line, shooting 2 for the Wolverines, number 5.
And that will send Quarles Daniels to the line for an opportunity to score 2 points. She would have scored on the lay. Misses the first. Misses both of them. Michigan's offense not in a groove. Now Solfakanik will get the opportunity to shoot from the line.
Into the line, shooting 2 for the Wolverines, number 15, Ashley Solfakanik.
Solfakanik missing. She hits the second of her free throws. It's a 20-14 advantage for Michigan. Able to get this steal on the defensive side of the ball. Swords finds Olsen in the corner. Back to Swords. Back to Holloway. Each one of the sophomores touches it as we enter the final 30 seconds of this first quarter. Holloway has it. Pressing, shot clock winding, Swords, 3. It's good. Silas Swords gets on the board. She finally makes the basket as we enter the final 10 seconds of this first quarter. That's great for her confidence to see a shot fall here. 23-14 advantage for the Wolverines. With just under 6 seconds to go in the first quarter. And once again, Akron at the free throw line. And McGuff, once again, is at the line.
Also on the floor for Akron, number 14, Lisa Tappany.
McGuff, this one rattles in and out. Hits the second.
Back on the floor for your Wolverines, number 20, Alyssa Crockett.
Michigan, chance for the final shot of this quarter. Separation, Holloway. Just misses. And that will end quarter number 1 for 23-15 advantage for the Michigan Wolverines. And a little bit surprising for some of our viewers because Michigan has had such a dominant start to the season. They only lead non-conference opponent by 8 at the end of the first quarter.
This is really surprising. Michigan is just having an uncharacteristically messy day. They're fouling almost as much as the Zips are, and though they're putting up lots of shots and getting to the basket, they're simply just not going in. The accuracy is just not there today. But maybe once they warm up a little bit, the accuracy will get there, because at the end of the day, the shot attempts are most important. As for the Zips, their last game, they really was their first win of the season, and they won by a significant amount. And what I've seen is they have a lot of new people, a lot of transfers, so their playing styles might be different, and that might contribute to a lack of cohesion. But last week they really got their footing against Heidelberg, and now they're able to work together and make fewer shot attempts count for more. But in the second quarter, both teams, I guess, just need to clean up a little bit, because I don't know the exact number, but a decent amount of these shots are off of free throws. So if they could minimize the free throws, that could really change the scale of how the points are distributed.
Speaking of the importance of those free throws, one of the critiques of this Michigan team is they're not a great shooting from the free throw line. Today they're shooting 60%. Coming to this game, they're just about 70%, which is not necessarily elite, especially the importance of that considering they're only going to be playing 2 games between now and, or 1 more game between now. We're going to start conference play against the Oregon Ducks at the end of the month. So certainly getting in the free throw rhythm is something that they need to work on. And just looking at this Michigan team in general, it's also surprising considering their rankings. Look at the NCAA's evaluation tool, which they use for the tournament, the net rankings. They have Michigan women's basketball ranked number 2, only to UConn, a team that they only lost to by 3 points in the season, being number 1. So certainly, if we look at Michigan, this is not the type of dominant performance that we've seen. This really made them one of the elite programs in the country so far. But let's see if that can change in the second quarter. The Swords, who hit the 3 at the end of the first quarter, hasn't. Pass outside Crockett, back to Holloway. Solfacanic, she has been strong inside. And this one goes in and out. And possession will remain with the Wolverines somehow to come away with the basketball. Swords now dancing with the defender. Holloway, catch and shoot triple. No good. Corals Daniels, third opportunity. And she gets fouled. Holloway will be the inbounder. Finds Swords. It's double teamed. Solfacanic lays it in from the right side. Kiss off the glass. 25-15, Michigan. Here's Akron now. That would have been an impressive layup. Doesn't go. Holloway on the other end. Goes straight down the court. Misses the basket. But she does get fouled. Olivia Olsen and Del Foss will check back into the game. Swords and Crockett will head to the bench. As Holloway will head to the line. Holloway continuing this lackluster performance from the line from the Wolverines. Sinks the second though, and it's a 26-15 advantage for Michigan. Michigan must see the full court defense. Akron able to maintain possession, however. Here's Brew. Does not step out of bounds. Wrestling for that basket, ultimately missing the shot is McGuff. Holloway gets to the course. Daniel side. Sulfacanik inside. Gets the basket and one. Never mind. They're going to call that shot off. It's an offensive foul on Sulfacanik. Crowd does not like it here at Crisler. Delphos has it. Now it gets to the Holloway, back to Delphos. Inside Sulfacanik. That's worked so well so far for the Wolverines is Sulfacanik. As she gets inside that paint, you know she's going to score. 28-15. Sulfacanik leading all scorers so far with 11 points tonight. Here's Michigan defense. Yet another turnover forced. Delphos had to get that off her back leg. Holloway, wide open look. Holloway, number 3, hits a 3, and it's a 31-15 advantage for the Wolverines, starting to find their groove offensively. Michigan once again pressing full court. There's a nice play right there by the Akron Zips. Mitchell able to get past Sulfacanik and get the lay. Easy, 31-17. But Holloway, speaking of easy lays, 33-17, able to get past her defender. And Michigan's lead now up to 16. Right here, fine, easy backdoor fine. Lay good by tapping in. And both teams now starting to exchange possessions, scoring. Kim Barzarico doesn't like it, and she'll call timeout. Michigan leading 33-19.
These two teams look very different and the same as they did not even 5 minutes ago. Michigan is kind of getting their footing with those shots, especially Sulfacanik and these past two by Holloway. And Akron has kind of lowered the strength they put on the ball, which has been one of the biggest problems for both teams today, is that they're just throwing the ball a little bit too hard. There's been many times where it's rolled off the hands, and players like McGuff and Mitchell have had some great saves for the Zips in that capacity, but really just they need to improve the accuracy and continue. And Michigan needs to continue their really good passing.
One of the things shocking to some of our listeners at home might be the fact that Akron has scored 19 points so far, a little over halfway to go in the second quarter. Akron shooting 46% for the field tonight. That's actually higher than UConn, the #1 team in the nation, did against this Wolverines defense. In fact, Michigan held UConn to about 38% shooting from the floor, their lowest percentage, lowest percentage since 2024 in February. So Michigan was able in large parts to limit that offense. It's a little bit surprising that Akron is having such success on the offensive side of the ball, but they are hitting their free throws at a higher percentage so far than Michigan is, and they are hitting actually their field goals in general with a slight percent higher than Michigan. It's certainly an uncharacteristic performance so far from the Wolverines. Let's see how they respond to a little bit of adversity, albeit they're still leading by 14 points, but as we go throughout the remainder of this game. So far, one person who's not struggled offensively, though, is Ashley Sulfacanik. She leads all scorers with 11 points so far in this game.
Couldn't agree more. She's always there when you need her in the paint, and is great at getting those quick, easy turnaround layups.
She's always there when you need her. She won't be on the court, however, here, as Dudley now will enter the game. Michigan now with the basket. Mila Holloway to Olivia Olson. Olson has 4 on the night, trying to add to it. This lays, though, good. And Akron picks up the foul, or fouls her, and will send Olson to the free throw line.
At the line shooting 2 for Hero Queens, number 1, Olivia Olson.
Olson misses the free throw. Her first miss of the night. And Reed has it going up court. Nice move in space to get separation there by Clark. Basket no good, however. It's out of bounds on Akron.
On the floor for the Zips, number 20, Taryn Ryan.
It's a little 22-on-22 action there. Clark and Dudley. Akron's 22 will be the inbounder. We'll throw this up to Reed. Able to wrestle that one from Mila Holloway. As she's going up for the jump ball. And we'll stop play here. It's a foul on Michigan, Mila Holloway. Here's another opportunity now for Akron on this possession. Trying to get set. Michigan pestering, not allowing them to get in a groove. Callaway has not scored yet tonight. She has it. Passes off to McGuff. McGuff, tough, able to get separation inside and just unable to put up the shot. It'll be a 33-19 victory. And yet another foul by Michigan in this possession. And this foul will send Corrine Reed to the line. Reed gets on the board, hits her first of 2. Misses her second. Swords has it. And Akron fouls. You look at the difference, the free throw discrepancy in this game. Akron's hitting about 66% other free throws. Michigan is right there at just 50%. That's part of the reason why the Zips are remaining competitive in this game, despite coming to this with 1-7 record. Here's number 1, Olivia Olson. She wants to get the scoring started for her in the second quarter. Gets her 6 point. It's a 35-20 advantage for Michigan.
It was a great screen from Dudley that allowed Olson to go straight for the basket.
Olson now at the line. Olson, free throw is good. Be good for her confidence up the strong. Hitting 1 of 5 from the field. And so far is 0 of 1 from the free throw. See the frustration there after she missed. Kind of passed the ball back to the referee. See if she'll settle down. Hits the second. And it's a 37-20 advantage for Michigan. And Brew could have shot that while Michigan was still getting set defensively. Instead, she'll take it, find her woman in the corner, and that's a nice play. Mitchell from the corner, 37-23. This pass errant for Macy Brown is intercepted by the Zips. Heading up court quickly. There'll be an offensive foul on McGuff. And you see McGuff there inside. Gets the foul. It's Michigan's ball. Olivia Olson finds Macy Brown. See this crowd here, Chrysler trying to get their Wolverines, trying to hype them up as it still remains a 14-point game for Michigan. This pass, the errant one, Akron will be out of bounds on them, so Michigan maintains possession. Brown throws this inside, pulls Daniels. And Akron fouls her.
Akron had good coverage on that inbound, but then their sloppiness again got the better of them, and now Michigan has another chance at a free throw.
Olivia Olson continues her struggles from the line. Michigan is starting to find the groove, at least from the field. They've hit 5 of their last 5. But again, the struggles from the free throw line, certainly a development to watch as the season progresses. She gets a second, however, and it's a 38-23 advantage for Michigan. Here's Reed, and double teamed by Olson and Swords, sophomore duo. Brew kind of just threw that one up. Silas Swords rejects it and passes it to Macy Brown. Here's Olivia Olson. Gets the lay on the run, 40-23, and Olivia Olson has 8 on the night now. Tuesday now that gives her double digits with 10. This pass I read goes off the leg of a Wolverine, and Michigan will now take possession as we enter the final 4 minutes of this first half. Macy Brown now directly trafficked. Brown has not scored yet tonight or this afternoon. Finds Swords. Gets Corals Daniels. Lay no good. Rebound, Dudley. Shoot it herself and she'll miss it. Here's Brew now. Akron trying to come into this lead for the half. Brew able to throw this to the opposite side of the court, and once again, that Brew action to the quarter, this time hitting the triple is Johnson, and Michigan only leads by 14 once again, 40-26. Silas Swords says, why not? Because she hits the triple, 43-26, Silas Swords gets her second basket of this afternoon. Here's Akron now, trying to get separation. Here's another wide open look. Shot no good by Johnson. But she is fouled. It'll be the second foul for Brooke Rose Daniels. And it will send Johnson to the line for the Zips.
At the line shooting 3 for the Zips, number 5, Natalie Johnson.
Johnson will get free throw attempts as she was fouled on 3-point attempt. And Johnson goes 2 of 3 from the line. Silas Swords waits, finds Brown. Olivia Olson inside. Olivia Olson, she's starting to find her shot. This little floater, and it's a 45-28 advantage for Michigan. A little over 2.5 minutes to go in this first half. Size advantage here. Clark working against Dudley. And this one will be out of bounds. It will remain with the Zips. Here's Akron now, Johnson. Triple team. Possession, not good. Here's Crockett. Swords and Brown handling it. Crockett has that score tonight. Swords finds Brown. Back out to Swords. A pass on the three, take it inside. Kicks it back out wide open in the corner. Dudley, nice ball movement from the Wolverines. 48-28. Michigan, it's their largest lead so far this afternoon. 20. As we enter the final 2 minutes of this first half. Here and see the Michigan defense unable to get the shot off as Callaway. Here's a quick timeout on the floor as Michigan leads 48-28. You see now Michigan has hit 9 of their last 11 field goals, 3 of their last 3. They're starting to find their groove offensively. See if that will continue as we go to the second half.
As I said before, Michigan hasn't lacked shot attempts. They just have lacked successful baskets. And now that they're taking a breather and really getting where they want to be to take these shots, they're able to get them in. And that last attempt they had, that last possession, they could have taken any number of threes, and in the end they did, and it worked out for them. So they should keep up the good work.
Akron now facing the large deficit of this afternoon. See how they respond. Vasicki being guarded pretty tough. Kicks out. Brew inside. And this possession turns empty for Akron. Wide open look by Crockett is missed. Crockett on the other end. Pressing Vasicki. Akron trying to get a good shot. Brew, nice move inside. Switched hands on the possession. Just a layup to get the Akron Zips up to 30. Still trailing by 18 as we enter the final 45 seconds. This half. Dudley has it, looking for someone to get open. That person is Olsen. Olsen, a little too strong on the 2-point attempts. Shot clock is off. Zips can hold it if they so choose. Brew has it, and see if Akron will get one less opportunity to cut this deficit, currently at 18. Here's Brew trying to get something cooking. Once again to the corner. This time Johnson will pass on the 3. Solid sword slid Whitaker. And it'll be an offensive foul against the Zips. Michigan will have 3 seconds to go in this first half to see if they can get a basket off. Maybe excite this Crisler crowd as we head into halftime.
That last play was a great example of how height really does matter. Johnson went almost under 2 of Michigan's taller players and simply just couldn't get out.
Solid Swords shoot a 3 at the end of the half. It's an air ball, and that kind of represents this first half for the Michigan Wolverines. They lead 48-30. Surprisingly, not as sharp, potent offensively as we've seen them throughout the year. However, their defense is very strong. They did start to turn the corner on the offensive side of the ball at the end of that half. If you look now, some of the statistics, Michigan shooting 48% from the field, a little bit under the season average. They're shooting only 52% though from the free throw line compared to Akron shooting about 62%. They're out rebounding the Zips, 19-13. They have more steals, more blocks, and 10 less turnovers, consistent with the turnover margin of 10 this season. As we go now at the half, looking at the upcoming schedule, Michigan, as we mentioned, will play one more game ahead of the Christmas holiday. They'll be next week against Oakland on Sunday here at Crisler, and then they'll start conference play at Oregon on the 29th for a lot of consecutive conference games in the Big Ten. So, as we alluded to early in the broadcast, this Michigan team has been dominant so far to start this season. They're ranked number 2 as far as NCAA's evaluation tool for the tournament, only to UConn, a team they lost to by 3 points. That's really impressive considering they only scored 5 points in the first quarter of that game. So certainly Michigan knows they can hang with some of the best teams in the country, but they love to be more consistent against some of the inferior opponents, like in Akron, if they really want to cement themselves as a great team. Actually, fun fact, if you look at that same tool, Michigan men's basketball team is number 1 for that net metric. So Michigan is the only team in the country to have teams in the top 3 or the top 5, both their men's and women's team, being ranked so highly by the NCAA. If you look at just the top 10, it's only one other team as well that's in that. So Michigan, very good on the men's and women's side of the game. But no team is perfect, and as we've seen so far in this first half, Michigan does have some things to clean up, particularly at the free throw line.
Couldn't agree more. These free throws are really important. They're happening often, and Akron is making more of them, and that's really helping their success in this game. As I said earlier, Akron has a pretty fresh team, a lot of transfers and a lot of freshmen, and individually they're strong, which is leading to these distributed points and contributions. So if Akron is able to better work together to get against Michigan's defense, that will really help them in the second half. And again, Michigan has gotten their footing at the end of the second half, with Olsen gaining lots of points on those swift layups, and earlier in the game, Sulfilconic always being there for them.
And one of the strengths for this Michigan team heading into this game was the strength of their bench. 35 bench points a game, that's 6th in the country. But if you look today, most of the points are from the starters, with the bench only contributing 8 points so far, so that's certainly something as well you'll have to see Michigan improve throughout the remainder of this game. Still, however, Michigan, even though they've not been as sharp, it's still an 18-point home advantage for them over the Akron Zips, and they are well on their way to yet another large victory. We'll see if they're able to get to that 100-point mark for the 5th time this season. Right now, they're, if you just project it out, they're going to be about 4 points short. Let's see if they can improve that and extend their historic start to the season in this second half. Just looking out Michigan's season as a whole so far, part of the reason why they've had such a start and been so clean is because they are really dominating their opponents as far as physicality. They've out-rebounded their opponents by a 14-point margin per game. That's 7th in the country and 3rd in the Big Ten. Their turnover margin, they're 2nd in the Big Ten. Look at the turnovers forced per game. They are also first, they're 1st in the Big Ten, and they're 2nd as far as steals per game. We've seen on the defensive side of the ball, again, even though Michigan has not been able to hit their shots consistently, still the fact that they have such a swarming defense is really allowing them to build leads and maintain them against some of these opponents. And that will do it for first half coverage here in Ann Arbor. We will switch broadcast crews for the second half as we leave you Michigan up 48-30 against the Akron Zips of the Mid-American Conference. Signing off Crisler Arena on this very beautiful, chilly Saturday in Ann Arbor. Cleo Washington was joined by Taryn Ryan in this first half, and we will switch broadcast crews here in a few minutes. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday here in Ann Arbor or wherever you're listening from.
We welcome you back to the Crisler Center here in Ann Arbor, where the 6th-ranked Michigan Wolverines currently hold a 48-30 advantage over the visiting Akron Zips. Alongside Charlie Lentz, my name is Zack Schteingart. Wherever you may be listening from, we're happy to have you with us. And Charlie, this Michigan team was being given a bit of a scare by these visiting underdogs, but in the first quarter, but in the second quarter they were really able to pull away and show off that offensive efficiency that has propelled them to a top 10 spot ranking in the country. What did you see from the team in the first half, and how do you think the rest of this game will unfold?
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously we knew coming in that they were a 63-point favorite. We thought that they were just going to blow away right out of the gates, but up until that 20-point mark, they were almost tied, and they really just came out shooting better than Michigan. They were shooting 50% while Michigan was like 38%, and truly how they kind of broke away was that turnover game. They were able to get those turnovers. Akron has almost 16 turnovers right now. They averaged 22 on the season, and having that, they've taken 13 more shots, and when you take 13 more shots than a team, you're going to be able to put up a score that's more than the opponent, and that's what Michigan does best is getting those turnovers and pushing the ball down the court and getting those easy baskets. I was going to ask you, who have you kind of seen on either end that's been performing well so far? I know we were talking a little earlier about maybe like Ashley as well, like in the paint and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we can talk about Olivia Olson, who's the leading scorer for the team and is the leading scorer today with 12 points. But Ashley Sofolkanik has been really impressive in getting those looks down low, creating space, and is the Wolverines' next leading scorer here in this one. But this Wolverines team leading the Big Ten in many metrics. A few of them specifically include offensive rebounds, scoring offense with 92 points a game was this Michigan team, but they are starting to pull away, and they take an 18-point advantage here as the teams are back out on the court, and we are just about to get set here to begin this second half. If you're a Michigan student, we want to thank you. We hope your finals are going well, and we want to thank you for taking a quick study break to come along for the ride here with us in this one. And so inbounding for the Zips will be Reed, and she'll get it in. Working at the block M on Corals Daniels is Brew, and she'll get it back over at the top of the key, handing it off. A 3-ball is no good. Rebound collected by McGuff, who will bring it back out, and getting it out inside now to Taponen. She tries to spin inside, but she is not able to get it to fall. Rebound pulled down by Holloway, who's racing back up. Fires it over to Corals Daniels, who creates some space and gets the bucket for the Wolverines' first points of the second half to get the lead out to 20. Bringing it back over for the Zips, it is Reed working on Holloway. Reed crosses a couple of times. Now she'll try to work inside, kicks it back out, get it right back to her, between her and Taponen. Now she'll get it over to McGuff at the top of the key, trying to drive inside, pivoting a little bit. Now she'll kick it back out to Taponen, kicking it in the corner for Mitchell attempting a 3-ball. No good. Rebound Holloway. The outlet pass over to Corals Daniels, bounces it over to Swords, who is cutting inside and is able to get the open look for another bucket. The lead is now 52-30 for the Wolverines. Bringing it back for the Zips now is Reed. Over at the right wing. Now she'll get it over to the left side. Sofolkanik comes up to guard. Now finds it inside the bounce pass over to Taponen, and she'll get the bucket. Cutting the lead back down to 20 as Holloway takes it back for the Wolverines. Slashes inside and gets a path to the bucket and puts it in. Mila Holloway gets the lay. And it is back out to a 22-point advantage for the Wolverines. Bringing it back is Brew. She'll get it over to McGuff on the left wing. Working on Olson. Now she'll drive inside. And Olson knocks it away from her. Sofolkanik comes up with it, and she'll get it out to Holloway. Working one-on-one down there with Reed. Tries to put up the shot, but some contact down there.
I mean, yeah, we just saw about five to seven possessions right there in a row, just fast pace, no stopping, and they're really just coming out of the half with a lot of energy, a lot of vitality, and obviously Michigan pushing the pace there, but Akron was able to get a couple good baskets down low, going to Taponen down in the paint, and truly just creating that fast fast-paced environment on the second half.
So Mila Holloway will get a trip to the stripe to shoot 2.
The sophomore guard, 5'10", from Charlotte, North Carolina. She actually she was leading the Big Ten in assists as a freshman last year. Led the team, was truly an outlet because obviously there was Olivia Olson and Silas Swords was leading in the points category, but Mila was doing a great job at distributing to them last year, and now obviously taking a heightened role on the team as a sophomore now.
Holloway 0 for 2 from the line, so the score will remain at 54-32 with the Zips bringing it back at the top of the key. Handed it off on the left wing, working on Swords. Gets knocked away from her for a minute. That is Clark with the basketball. Now get it over to Mitchell, trying to drive inside. That one gets stripped away from her. Sofilcanic dives for the rebound and is able to corral it. But it will be a jump ball called, and the Wolverines will get the possession back.
I feel like it's a very scrappy bout here. I was witnessing that a little bit in the first half, but a lot of
scrums for loose balls down there.
Olivia Olson was battling recently, and now you saw Sofilcanic there on the ground, but Michigan was able to kind of end up with that possession, bringing it down now.
Olson gets the inbound into Holloway, who comes toward the block M, working on Tanisha Clark. Now she'll get it over to Olson on the left wing. A fadeaway jumper from the free throw stripe is no good. Rebound gets batted around, but the Zips are able to come up with it. And on the outlet pass, finding Clark on the right wing. Now she'll get it at the top of the key. McGuff with a 3, no good. Rebound Sofilcanic, gets it out to Holloway. Swords was running down there open, looking for the outlet, but Holloway looked like she got fouled.
Yeah, Mitchell was just standing still there, but you saw she just ran into Mitchell, and that's enough to call a foul. There's been a lot of fouls so far in this game, especially on Akron's side. They're almost at 20 fouls now, and Michigan has had their respective 11 as well. So a lot of free throw shooting and fouls on the floor as well as shooting fouls.
Inbound goes to McGuff. Now checking into the game is Callaway. Callaway guarded closely by Quarles Daniels. She bounces it inside. Holloway comes up with a steal all the way over to Olson, who has a step and finishes it off for the 2.
Yeah, kind of just a testament to what we've been seeing all game there. Just a steal, and then Olson kind of goes on the outlet, just throw a lob past her, and she gets an easy right-handed layup there. Really efficient basketball from Michigan, and truly shows why they're a top 10 team in women's college basketball right now. And yeah, I mean they're coming off of a loss recently to UConn as we saw previous weeks, but they look good in that game, and they could have easily won that with a couple better shots so far. So they could easily be a top 3 team in the conference right now in basketball. And I just think it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of progress. They obviously have a couple easier games per se, but maybe once they get into conference play, maybe a couple more ranked opponents, we kind of see if they get tested a little bit down the line.
The Wolverines currently on a 4-game win streak. All of those wins coming in dominant fashion. And yeah, this very young core for the Wolverines had a lot of freshmen that really burst onto the scene last year, and they have only continued to upgrade their play this year. That core of Olson, Swords, and Holloway really just exploded onto this team last year, and they have continued to make an impact as the Wolverines currently in the midst of a 4-game homestand. This is their 3rd game in that stretch. And at home, Michigan is 5-0, averaging 98 points per game on 54% shooting, which is very close to the mark that they are at here in this one with a 53% field goal mark. But this Wolverines team, Kim Barnes-Arico, obviously such an iconic coach for this program, but this has to be one of the better teams that she's had so far in her career.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we were talking about those kind of young talents on the team, but that's kind of a testament to the recruiting that Kim was able to do. Obviously, going into her 14th season, so far she's been extremely successful. Actually has the most wins in program history. She has 284 wins in those 13 seasons, and yeah, I mean, led them to the Elite 8 recently. She's obviously a great coach and was able to create great prospects, and definitely has a team on her hands that could take it all the way to get a national title for the Wolverines.
Absolutely. The Wolverines plugging a lot of holes that were left last year by departing seniors or transfers. Sofilcanic coming over from Bucknell, as well as Kendall Dudley coming in from UCLA.
Yeah, I think as well, like looking at the Akron side, obviously I feel like They started off the season a little rough. They were 0-7, but they just got a great win under their belt. Had an 81-point win, which is crazy to say, and it's tough when you have that momentum to kind of go against a team like Michigan. But at least early on, they were holding their own.
As we mentioned, the Wolverines are 5-0 at home. The Zips are 0-4 on the road, so we will see which streak gets broken today. Bringing it back over for the Zips is Izzy Calloway, coming off a 36-point performance in the Zips win. As getting it over to Monique Mitchell, driving inside on Swords, gets knocked away from her. Corals Daniels will come up with the steal, getting it out to Olsen. Now she hesitates a minute, kicks it back over to Swords, finds Sofocanic inside, spins, creates the open look, and puts it in. Ashley Sofocanic bullies her way to the bucket once again, and the lead is out to 58-32 for the Wolverines, as the Zips will bring it back now with Calloway, guarded very tightly by Corals Daniels. Now she'll get it over to Mitchell. Now back over to Calloway. In the corner, it's Taponen. And she'll kick it over a corner three on the way from Calloway, and she sinks that one. Izzy Calloway is the hot hand right now, and she continues that as Swords drives to the bucket, and there was some contact down there.
I think it's an and one.
Yeah, unclear whether they're going to give her the bucket. They will give her the bucket, so count it and the foul for Silas Swords.
Yeah, I mean, just on the other end there, I think Sofocanic, she was kind of doing what she's been doing all game now with 13 points. She uses her size, obviously 6'3", a bigger power forward for women's basketball. And yeah, she's just really using her body well, getting to the paint. And they really need a big man with fundamentals because obviously they have great guard play, but to complement that with kind of power forward.
Swords knocks down the free throw. Now a three ball on the way for Visicki from the Zips is no good. A long pass to the other side for Corals Daniels. She'll have to collect it. Kicks it out to Delphos with a wide open three. That one is short, and the rebound is collected by the Zips. Bringing it back now is Brew for Akron. Now she gets around the edge. Now kicks it back into a cutting Visicki, who goes up through the contact and gets the bucket to fall.
Yeah, a pair of and ones there, first for Swords and now for Visicki, obviously pending the made free throw. But yeah, I think just looking at Akron's team in general, obviously on the floor right now, it's very young, both at their coaching level and at the younger level. Obviously Mitchell, that's been playing a lot. McGuff, they're a younger sophomore freshman team, and also their coach. It's really only his third season in first couple seasons as a head coach as well. I think it's interesting to see how he develops his team as he's developing himself.
So now a free throw to complete the end one on the way from Maddie Visicki. And that one was no good. So bringing it back now for the Wolverines is Swords, as she finds a cutting Holloway, who will take it back out beyond the arc. Gets it right back to Swords, who will find Sofocanic inside. And that one gets knocked away from her. A rare stop down on Sofocanic for the Zips today, but they get the steal and they'll bring it back as they find McGuff inside, and that one gets away from her, and the Wolverines will get the ball right back with Swords. But some contact down there in the leftovers down there. In the foul is going to be called on Kieran McGuff. And a timeout here.
Yeah, once again, Michigan just unrelentless on kind of that defensive end. They just got their 10th steal, making it double digits on the night right now compared to Akron's 3, and really does a great job. I mean, obviously early on we saw they were doing that kind of zone trap, really pressuring them on the backcourt, but then even when they get into actual play, they're still double teaming, creating that pressure, making you feel uncomfortable. And if anyone's played basketball, you know that when you have two defenders on you, it's so hard to try to find the open person that you need to find, and they've been just doing a great job of that.
The Wolverines were putting some of the Zips in boxes down there with the looks on the double teams and the high pressure that they've been putting on their players. And that is what has brought them out to this 61-37 advantage here with 4:37 left to go in the third quarter as we get a media stoppage. Yeah, you mentioned this Akron Zips team coming off their first win of the season, and there's not much more dominant fashion you can do it in. Over 80 points, the margin of victory. And this team is really trying to come in here make a statement, show they can hang with these larger Power 4 programs. And in that first quarter, they were really looking to do it. We mentioned that the Wolverines have had a very high margin of victory this season. So to come in and really give the Wolverines a run for their money, making the score tight in the early going, to kind of just announce that, hey, this isn't going to be as easy of a task as you thought it would.
Yeah, no, I think for sure, just like you said, it's obviously hard to kind of keep a winning streak alive when you're going against a team like Michigan, but just at least showing that promise early on that you can hang with a big dog like Michigan in a very close game, at least early on, it kind of speaks as a testament to maybe some of their later games. They have Geneva next, and then Delaware, Ball State, followed up by Ohio, and if they're able to kind of win at least 2 or 3 of those, I think that'll be good for this program, maybe to just keep that win streak, keep that hot momentum alive. And obviously, starting out 1-7 is never ideal, but it's kind of how you're able to develop throughout the season as you go on. And we've obviously seen Michigan continue to develop and win by more and more points each game.
So both teams coming back out onto the court now. Delphos is back into the game here for the Wolverines, as it will be Silas Swords to inbound with Holloway closest to her on the court, and that's who she gets it into.
Natalie Johnson in for Akron as well.
Johnson making a bit of an impact earlier on in the first half, as it'll be Holloway at the top of the key. We'll find Swords on the right wing. Screen set by Sofocanic as Swords drives in with her left side. Now she'll get it over to Quarles Daniels. A step back through 2, and she's able to hit the fadeaway jumper. It's Brooke Quarles Daniels, the veteran here of this team, as the lead is back out to 26. It's Brew taking it back for the Zips, as she'll find Reed. Holloway on her. Now she'll get it in the corner to Clark, Naira Clark, and gets it inside. Driving inside, that is Johnson. Now she'll kick it back over to Naira Clark, who fires a 3. That one too strong. Rebound gets deflected a bit, but it's Swords who ends up with it, and she'll get it over to Holloway, who's charging down the court. Now she'll find Delphos, who's cutting inside, and she'll be called for the foul on the shot attempt, which will earn her a trip to the line.
Yeah, I think there from Brooke Daniels, I was looking in the pregame warm-ups, and that's exactly the shot that she was taking. She takes that kind of one dribble pull-up step, and practice makes perfect. Obviously, she just looked very effortless there, getting to her spot and swishing that basket on the last one. But then, yeah, Delphos obviously getting that foul call as well. She's taking 2 free throws right now.
So Delphos at the line to shoot her first, and she's able to knock that one down. And going back to Quarles Daniels, I mentioned that she's a veteran of this team. She's taken on a bit of that elder statesman role. She is the only senior in the Wolverines' regular rotation this season, but she has certainly provided a good amount of veteran leadership, which is what this young team needs, as Delphos is able to knock her second free throw down to go 2 for 2 from the line. 3:37 to play here in this third quarter. Getting it over at the elbow to Naira Clark, who will hand it back off to Johnson. Now she'll kick it over on the left wing to Brew. Now she'll kick it in the corner. Reed trying to drive under the basket, looking for Johnson down low. Creates some space, going off her back foot. Shot is no good. Rebound by Dudley for the Wolverines, and now firing over from Holloway to Swords, and that connection leads to a 2. Taking it back now for the Zips is Brew, driving on Swords, puts up the shot off the window, and Swords will be called for the foul.
Yeah, 67-37, 3 minutes left in the third quarter. A lot of the fans doing the 6-7 with the 67 score to Akron's 37. But yeah, we kind of talked about how Akron's playing some opponents, kind of looking at Michigan's schedule going forward. They play Oakland, Oregon, and then 20-ranked Washington. So they kind of have a couple games to develop and continue to build before they play their next ranked matchup. But I can honestly see them winning out a long way going into January, February as well.
Both free throws good from Brew, as the lead is out to 67-39 with 3 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Bringing it back for the Wolverines is Holloway at the top of the key. Now she'll get it over to Swords, or Alyssa Crockett, excuse me. Now she'll hand it off to Holloway, back over to Crockett in the corner. Now she'll get it back inside, trying to get it to Dudley, but that one is stripped away. And now racing back down the other way is Vasicki. Now she'll get it over to Callaway on the right wing. Bounces it to the stripe for Naira Clark. She hands it off to Reed, guarded by Dudley. Now she'll get it back over to Callaway, over to Reed, who kicks it over in the corner to, I believe that's Brew. Now kick it back out of the corner, 3 for Callaway, and she's able to knock that one down. Izzy Callaway with another 3 to cut the lead to 67-42. Now Tayala Delfos taking it back the other way. That one gets blocked. Holloway with a 3. No good. Another rebound from Delfos, but she is not able to put that one up. So a couple chances there for the Wolverines, but they are unable to capitalize.
Yeah, physical bout there. Everyone thrashing on the floor. I think Callaway efficient right now, 2 for 2 from the three-point line. You can obviously see how she was able to score 36 points in her last matchup. If she gets hot, I think she had 8 three-pointers in that last game. Don't let her get open. You obviously want to keep track of her because she kind of just slipped to that corner there, and a lot of chaos in the center, and you kick it out to her, and that's a wide open three-pointer.
36 points coming off the bench in that one, and that's exactly what she's done here today, coming off that bench spot, and she has made an immediate impact with 2 early threes. As Tayala Delfos will take a trip to the line.
Sophomore here from New Jersey. She was a little bit hurt last season. She started 24 games, or at least played 24 games, but didn't have quite that role she was expecting, especially with that injury. But obviously the depth of Michigan this season is a testament to how good they are, and she's just trying to fit into her piece on the team right here, and obviously playing a lot of minutes as well.
Delfos 1 for 2 from the line there. The lead is out to 26 with 1:52 to play here in the third, as the Zips will bring it back with Reed on the left wing. Slashing inside, double teamed by Delfos, and Crockett gets it over to Taponen, who banks it in off the window. And the Wolverines will bring it back now with Holloway racing down the court, behind the back dribble, crosses a couple of times, now kicks it over to Crockett, who will get it in the corner to Swords. Spins inside, a fadeaway jumper is good for Silas Swords, as the lead is back out to 26 with 1:22 remaining. It's Johnson bringing it back for the Zips. She'll lob it into Taponen. She'll hand it off to Johnson. Johnson is double teamed at the top of the key. Pass in traffic to Taponen, who's able to come up with it. And Taponen will draw the foul. It's Dudley who gets called for the infraction.
Yeah, Olivia Olson, Macy Brown checking in for kind of a swap of the guards there. We kind of talked about how they started off slow, Michigan did. They had like 35% shooting, but they're already all the way up to 53% now, so shooting incredibly efficient in this kind of last 2 quarters.
Visicki on the inbound. Reed shoved Delfos to the ground, and she'll be called for the foul there, and the Wolverines will get the possession back.
Yeah, these refs are calling the game quite strict, and with an aggressive game, the fouls are going to rack up there. Offensive foul just from Akron trying to get space on the offense.
We have heard that whistle sound a lot today, as Macy Brown will bring it back for the Wolverines. She'll get it over to Olson. Fakes a pass. Now she'll try to take it herself. Kicks it back over to Dudley. On the left wing, feeds it back inside to Van Timmeren, who tries to put up the shot, and that one was short. And now bringing it back for the Zips is Johnson. Natalie Johnson lobs it back inside to Taponen, working on Van Timmeren. And she creates some space and banks it home. So the bucket is good for Taponen, the senior out of Finland, as it'll be Olsen bringing it back here for the Wolverines. She's going to try to drain this clock out to get a last shot attempt before the third quarter, it seems. Holding it out at the block M, working on Visicki. Now she'll get it over to Brown. Kicks it over to Delfos on the left wing, back over to Brown. A 3 on the way from Brown, no good. Rebound ensnared by Van Timmeren. Kicks it over back at the elbow, back over to Dudley, and she'll be called for the travel.
Yeah, 4 seconds left on the clock. We're just going to try to get it in and hustle down and try to get a long 3. We'll see if Akron can convert.
Lobs it back inside to Taponen. She'll leave it over for Reed, who puts up the 3. That one off the side of the backboard. And we will go into the final quarter here with the Wolverines leading 70-46.
Yeah, kind of the same as we started at half. Same kind of 24-ish point deficit, and Akron definitely holding their own. They're keeping up that 3-point percentage at 60 or I was looking at free throw percentage, but they still have a 44% field goal percentage, above average for college basketball. And obviously Topponen there, she was getting a couple baskets using her size. The senior from Finland, yeah, like 6'5". That's obviously going to be a height advantage. And if you can find her, I feel like that's the kind of the fundamentals that you're going to get those easy 2-point buckets and try to come back in this game.
Topponen was definitely the focal point of Akron's offense for those last couple of possessions, but this Wolverines bench, remarkably deep. Their bench scored 40 points versus Purdue with all 7 substitutions logging a point, which really shows how well-rounded this team is. You've got the core that can make such a big impact, but having that depth is crucial to the big wins that the Wolverines have been able to log here so far this season, showing how they can get off to fast starts and keep that hot streak going. For sure. With the bench players carrying the load. Yeah, no, I think looking in the future towards kind of the March Madness, I think the best teams, they kind of carry 3 attributes, and it's experience, really good coaching, and also like if you're streaky or you're hot. And I think right now you obviously see great coaching, and they're definitely on a hot streak, but it's going to be whether or not these younger players like Olsen, like Silas Swords, and Mila Holloway, are they going to be able to perform? Because last year we saw they got bumped out in the second round of March Madness, and they were a lot younger. Now they're performing with more chemistry, but it's going to be interesting to see where they get matched up and seeded into March. Absolutely. The Wolverines were not expected to be in a position of contention so early on with the new recruits that they have brought in, that they brought in last year, but they were able to make it to the tournament last year and record a win before being bumped out by those Fighting Irish, who have really made their case to be one of the best teams in the nation. So the Wolverines looking for a bit of a revenge tour. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Both Michigan basketball in general, both on the men's and women's side. I was going to mention that very looking very good on the court here, on the hardwood here in Ann Arbor. Yeah, obviously Michigan men's basketball has been getting a lot of press and attention, but you got to honestly see that women's basketball is carrying just as much hype, with them being that top 10 seed, and they could both become a top 3 seed in their respective classes. Absolutely. So the inbound here for the Zips at the block M, it is Delphos guarding Brew. Now she'll hand it over to Johnson. Kicks it back over to Callaway at the top of the key. That one pass looking for Reed down there was intercepted by Dudley. And now she'll hand it off to Brown. Get it back over to Olsen, taking it all the way back to the block M. Now she'll get it back to Dudley at the elbow. Dudley fires it inside to Delphos, who puts up the shot and will draw the foul. Delphos being able to, she's really drawing that foul well. She's gone to the line 3 times now and hasn't been able to quite convert those free throws yet, but it's only a matter of time. If you're getting those opportunities, you're going to knock down those free throws, and we'll see what she does here in these 2 free throws coming up. So Delphos will take a trip to the line. You mentioned so far she is 4 for 6 on free throws as her first attempt is up and good. We see Van Timmerman actually checking in for the first time this game, I believe. Really just another key player on their team. Obviously a very deep team there, and then Van Timmerman being that kind of grad student from Allendale, Michigan, in state as well. Delphos is able to knock down her second free throw to go 2 for 2. And now it's the Zips bringing it back. Topponen handing it off to Callaway. Almost mishandled the exchange there, but they will retain it and get it over to Johnson. Now we'll find Callaway in the corner. Getting it back over to Johnson at the top of the key. Shot clock at 5. A little bit of a Euro step from Johnson, but her shot attempt is no good, and the rebound is corralled by Van Timmeren as she'll get it over to Olsen. Crosses inside, fades, and gets the roll for Olivia Olsen. Gets her 16th bucket, 16th point of the day, as the Zips will bring it back here with Brew. Step back, lobbing it over outside to Reed, who will drive inside on 3 Wolverines, and the offensive foul is going to be called on her. Yeah, charged there by Van Timmerman. I think we were talking about Silas Swords a lot, but I think we haven't talked about Olivia Olsen enough, just how big of a role she played last year, averaging 16 points as a freshman, and now taking that stage. At that last bucket, it seemed effortless. She just kind of got right to the mid-post and threw a floater up. But
she's taken that lead to be the pure scorer, sitting at 6-1 for Michigan Wolverines.
And that has put her as the leading scorer for this team with 18.4 per game. And she'll handle it right now from the stripe. Lob it and inside to Van Timmeren, who goes up. The shot attempt is no good. Rebound to Ponen for the Zips, as they'll be driving back now. Kicking it back outside was Brew. Now she'll hand it off to Callaway. Firing back over to Vasicki. Dudley was able to get in the way of that pass, but she was not able to get a handle on it to bring it back, and it will roll out of bounds on her, and the Zips will retain possession.
Yeah, a little sloppy there for the Zips. Obviously, Ryan Jensler not too happy with that pass. It was a little lackluster.
And another steal here. It's Olsen bringing it back. She'll clear it for Brown, who mishandled it. Diving for it was Van Timmeren, who will get it back to Olsen, who finds Delphos inside, and the rebound no good. So a little bit of a wacky drive down to the basket there for the Wolverines, but they are able to get a clean shot off.
Ended up being a jump ball, I think. Delphos was kind of tangled up there down low with, I forget who it was. I think it was Clark down low, but possession stays with Michigan Wolverines.
It'll be Macy Brown to inbound it now. Coming open is Olsen, and she tried to get it to her, but the offensive foul is going to be called on Van Timmeren.
Yeah, Van Timmeren trying to box out Toponen there, and Olivia kind of coming off that screen, but she was still kind of moving her body there. Illegal screen, and once again, another foul for the Wolverines, stacking up as well. They're both at, Akron has 2 fouls, Michigan has 1 foul for this quarter.
Shayna Brew bringing it back for Akron now. Delphos guards her at the block M. Backing up a little bit, now she gets it to Toponen, who will kick it over on the right wing to Johnson. Johnson will find Toponen, who will get it back to her. And she tried to put up the 3 to Johnson, but the offensive foul was called. And although she was able to sink that shot, it will not count, and the Wolverines will get the possession back.
Yeah, at least the refs are calling it fair. They back-to-back possessions, calling it both ways. They obviously saw something similar there with an offensive foul.
Olivia Olsen now handling it for the Wolverines. She'll get it over to Dudley at the elbow. Now gets it right back to Olsen, who will kick it out to Brown at the top of the key. Brown lets it get away from her, and it is stolen away by Brew, who will clear it out for Johnson, who will kick it back out to Toponen. And a 3-ball on the way is good for Shayna Brew. And the Zips are able to cut into the lead. It is now 25 with 7 minutes to play. Macy Brown brings it back to the left wing for the Wolverines. She'll find Delphos at the top of the key, who will get it over to Olsen. Right back to Delphos, who has a wide open lane to the basket and finishes it off for 2. Lead back out to 27 with 6:43 to play. Bringing it back here for the Zips is Johnson. Bounces it right back over to Brew. Tries to slash inside, steps back, and puts in the teardrop shot for 2. And now bringing it back for the Wolverines is Olsen. Charging forward on Vasicki, and that's going to be a charge called on Olivia Olsen.
Yeah, Shayna Brew, their first Zip to hit double-digit points there, and 5 quick points with that three-pointer. She's 5 for 8 right now, 1 for 3 from the three-point line, along with 2 free throws. She's kind of carrying the offensive production, as well as a couple other sprinkled in assets as well. But yeah, we're gonna have to see if they can kind of string a couple more possessions, because obviously basketball is a game of runs and kind of going on those 10-0, 12-0 runs.
Sofa Kanik checks back into the game for the Wolverines, as does Holloway and Swords. And with just under 6:20 to play here in the fourth quarter, the Zips just trying to the Wolverines just trying to finish this one out. As Vasicki working on Delphos, kicks it in, and the right wing, a 3 by Johnson is well short, and the Wolverines will come up with it and bring it back the other way with Holloway. Fade away from the elbow, rattles around and goes for Mila Holloway. And bringing it back for Akron now is Callaway, kicking it in the corner. Oh, that's Johnson clearing it out. Sword switches onto her. She's able to dart past her. Now she'll kick it outside to Clark, who will find Callaway in the corner, trying to work around. And Clark, shot clock at 5, and the pass is stolen away. An outlet pass to Swords on the other end, and she draws the contact as she puts up the foul. So a lot of ball movement down there from the Zips, but they are unable to get a shot off, as the steal for the Wolverines will get them an extra position and a trip to the line here for Silas Swords.
Yeah, Silas Swords obviously drawing that contact, but something I was looking at in that last possession was how she was playing defense as well. She was actually fully blocking off Natalie Johnson's right hand, was making her go left and kind of open the lane for Johnson, but obviously did her research and in scouting realized that maybe she has a weaker left, and I think that's a key defensive attribute that just speaks volumes to kind of that basketball IQ as well.
Swords goes 1 for 2 from the line as the Wolverines struggles from the free throw line here continue, but they are out to a 28-point lead with 5:15 to go here in the fourth. Reed now in the corner. The Wolverines defense unrelenting still. Snira Clark at the elbow. Sofulcanic putting her in a box. Now the ball gets away from Clark. She's able to corral it. Shot clock at 5, but the Zips are nowhere near an open look. She's just going to have to fire up a prayer, and they will not even get a shot off before the clock runs down, and it'll be a violation on Akron as the Wolverines will get the ball back.
Yeah, really good defense there. They have a very athletic, agile team right now on the court, and they were able to kind of shift. Obviously, warming up, they were doing that drill where you shift around the defense, and they're able to do a great job there, making sure no one could even breathe and no shots could get thrown up.
Yeah, heavy pressure from the Wolverines all day, and that has been consistent throughout all 4 quarters here. Really just tight pressure, full court presses, and the double teams have really provided the Zips with no room to work. But just looking at the standings in the Big Ten, the Wolverines have got a lot of competition for that top spot in the conference, with UCLA just ahead of them in the rankings, but Iowa and Maryland and even USC and as well as Nebraska, and of course the hated rival, the Ohio State Buckeyes, all on the Wolverines' tail and all chasing that top spot, but the Wolverines have as good of a case as anybody to claim that crown. Yeah,
I think obviously UCLA might be one of the harder opponents, ranked number 4 in the country right now, but you see, like you were talking about, Maryland is 12-0 right now, and obviously you're still playing those non-conference opponents, but it's going to be interesting to see how that Big Ten conference plays out, both in men's and women's basketball, always very solid. And I think going and kind of looking at the common teams that both the Zips and Wolverines have played, it's really, I only saw shut down Hannah Hidalgo and win that by 27, but Akron didn't get blown out either. They only lost by I think 18, 20 to 25 points, and they'd had a solid performance and was able to keep that game close as well. So obviously both teams putting up a very solid performance against a well-respected Notre Dame team as well.
Yes, the Wolverines have definitely really solidified their spot at the top of the Big Ten, but there will be a lot of jostling for that conference title, and that'll prove to create a lot of interesting games here down the stretch as we get into the thick of conference play and turn the calendar over to the new year. But the Wolverines are looking to finish off 2025 strong.
Yeah. I think even with this loss, the Zips can't take it too personally. Obviously, we were talking about they were a 63-point deficit.
Put up a fight.
And now they're only losing by
time.
Yeah, only losing by 28.
So now the Wolverines will bring it back with Holloway, who remains in the game. She'll get it over to Crockett on the right wing, kicking it in the corner to Swords. Now she'll get around to the stripe, and she'll kick it back outside to Crockett, who will find Delphos in the corner, gets it inside to Sofulcanic, who puts up the skyhook shot and gets another bucket to fall. As the Zips will bring it back. 30-point lead now for the Wolverines with 4:18 to play. Taking her time at midcourt is Brew, guarded by Swords. And a 3 on the way from Naira Clark is off the mark, and The Wolverines will get the rebound, lob it over to Delphos on the outlet, finds Sofolkanek, who gets another bucket. Continuing her dominance down low is Ashley Sofolkanek. That is her 17th point of the day, which ties her with Swords for the leading mark for the Wolverines today. As the Zips will bring it back at the top of the key now is Brew, working on Holloway, kicks it back out. Now it's Callaway with it. Back in the corner for Clark, who fires a three. That one no good. Rebound corralled by Delphos. She'll get it over to Holloway. Wide open look for three in the corner from Crockett is no good. And the Zips will come up with the rebound and bring it back with Reed. Now it's Callaway. The Wolverines not providing the Zips with any room to work. Really not letting up any kind of cushion. And that one is swatted away by Crockett, working on Vasicki. But the Zips will retain possession as it touched Crockett last.
Yeah, Sofolkanek coming out right now. Honestly, didn't even realize it until a little bit before this game, but we talk so much about those freshmen, but the transfer in Sofolkanek from Bucknell, she actually averaged 20 points per game last year at Bucknell and was Patriot League player of the league, and I think that just she doesn't get recognized enough as being that kind of key player on the offensive side.
She really provides that big presence down in the paint, which is so crucial to the success and physicality of a team. As the Zips will work with it now, it's Vasicki. And she'll put up a off-balance shot is good as the shot clock sounds. A jumper from Maddie Vasicki falls. And the lead is back down to 80 with 2:42 to play as Delphos fires a three. That one rattles around and no good. And Vasicki will come up with it and bring it back. Delphos intercepts her pass, but is unable to get the handle on it as the Zips will retain it. And now it gets stolen away by Delphos, who has to go to the ground to collect it. She's able to, clearing the way for Fields, who is able to lay it in. Jessica Fields checking into the game and immediately gets an easy bucket. And the lead is out to 32 for the Wolverines. At the top of the key is Callaway, working on a triple team, kicking it in the corner. Lobs it over to the other side for Clark, who thought about a three. Now she'll get it over to Callaway. Kicks it right back to Clark. Now she'll put up the three, and that one no good. Rebound by Crockett. Now she'll get it over to Brown on the left wing. Bounces it inside. And putting up the shot is Byers, and she's unable to get it to go. And it'll go out of bounds on the Zips.
Yeah, I mean, even with this kind of more bench lineup from Michigan and Brown, Fields, Crockett, Byers, Delphos, they were still giving a lot of pressure to this starting Zips team, and kind of their secondary five is still extremely talented, like we were talking about. Just speaks to how in-depth their team is from top to bottom. I think
we've got an injured Zip on the field, but on the court,
I think it was Brew.
Yeah, Brew's able to walk off on her own power, which is good to see.
Underneath for the Wolverines, Macy Brown inbounding.
Brown will inbound it over to Fields, who puts up the shot immediately, and she will draw the foul. Actually, that will be called on Sierra Byers off ball, and that will give possession back to the Zips. Working at the block M is Johnson on Delphos. Crosses back inside. Now she'll get it back out to Vasicki, who fires a three and gets that one to go. Maddie Vasicki gets the triple for the Zips to cut the lead down to 29. And moving back with it quickly, Fields puts up another shot, but that one is no good. Fight for the rebound, snared by Nara Clark. And she'll get it out to Callaway. Fires a long three and gets that one to fall. Another three for Izzy Callaway to continue to cut this lead for Akron. Izzy Callaway makes her third three of the afternoon. And the Wolverines, you would think they're going to try to drain as much clock as they can here, but Delphos is still looking for a few more points, but unable to get that one to go. Rebound by Byers, and her shot no good. Rebound collected by the Zips. facing a 26-point deficit with just 30 seconds to play. Naira Clark gets rejected by Crockett, and the possession will stay with the Zips.
Yeah, Zips fighting to the very end, though. You had a big 2-pointer and 3-pointer from Vasicki, and then that 3 ball by Callaway on an 8-0 run currently. And even though there's only 30 seconds left, they're still fighting and trying to bring that score at least a little less of a deficit.
As they have done all day, really giving the Wolverines all they can handle. And they'll get it back inside. It's McGuff. And yeah, just to talk more about the grit of this Zips team scoreboard, but they have given 100% effort all day, and they have really been quite efficient from the field. Callaway really making it rain from 3, and they've also been able to get a lot of looks in the paint. So this Zips team has done a very good job to kind of avoid what the Wolverines have handed out to so many other opponents this season.
Yeah, I think it's a great outlook for the future of this year and the future of the program. I think Ryan Gensler obviously is going to have a couple more years under his belt, but had some success as the assistant coach at Illinois, leading them to, I think it was like a 12 in 19 season, and coming to Akron, he has a big responsibility to try to improve this team, and obviously not the start they wanted, but at least watching them in person, it shows that they're practicing their fundamentals, is improving on defense and especially shooting. Definitely some promise for the future.
Looking ahead for the Wolverines, they will have 2 more games to play before the calendar turns to 2026, as they will face Oakland here in Ann Arbor at noon on December 21st to finish out this 4-game homestand, and then they will travel to Eugene to take on Big Ten foe, the Oregon Ducks. As the inbound coming in from Vasicki, tightly in the corner, guarded by Dunbar. She'll get it into Callaway, hands it off to McGuff. She'll bounce it inside, and pass is intercepted there. Crockett comes up with it. Diving in front of it was Byers, and she was able to get a handle on it. A little over 10 seconds to play here, and Crockett's just going to dribble it out to seal this one as a Michigan victory over the Akron Zips. And that'll do it. The Michigan Wolverines win their 5th in a row by the score of 85-59. And they continue their dominance here so far in the 2025-26 season.
Yeah.
Picking up an excellent win today, and they'll look to keep it rolling here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, good turnout from the Wolverines as well. Crowd on their feet, chanting the hail, and yeah, like we talked about, that 26-point victory. A little less than they expected, I think, going into that game, but still very efficient nevertheless. They shot 49%, had a lot of steals, 14 steals. That's much more than their 9.3 average. And, yeah, I think it was a very solid win overall. I think the biggest part of it was just them shooting 18 more shots in Akron. It's not necessarily that they shot better. They just shot more. They had a lot more volume and had a lot easier buckets with those steals to truly get those fast break opportunities. But, yeah, like we talked about, it's a steep road ahead to get to March, and Michigan just has to keep being consistent, beating teams like this, and then maybe when they go to more Nebraska, UCLA, Michigan State, Maryland, it's going to be interesting for sure, but definitely a fun call and a good game overall.
Absolutely. So just to run over the numbers here, Sofocanic and Swords lead the Wolverines with 17 points each. Olivia Olson right behind them with 16, and Mila Holloway and Tayala Delfos rounding that out with 12 and 10 respectively. But Charlie, who would you give your game ball today? Not just for what they've had on the stat sheet, but just what the presence that they brought to the court today.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, obviously you could give it to Olson and someone like that, but I actually think Delfos I would give the game ball to. She did only shoot like 2 for 9, but the pressure that she brought on defense, she was distributing a lot. She had 7 rebounds, and I'm pretty sure she only had 1 steal, but she was creating a lot of the chaos as well. And I think someone that's a little less respected on that team still providing for the Wolverines. I'd give the game ball to Delfos or Olson. What about yourself?
Yeah, I would. I mentioned Sofocanic earlier, and I would absolutely give the game ball to her, providing
Fair.
those points in the paint all first half, and really finishing it off, checking in late in the game and creating a few more opportunities as well. So she really provides that paint presence for the Wolverines that really helps them out so well. But the final score here, 85-59, as the Wolverines will pick up their 5th straight win. Always a pleasure to call here, to give you the call here for WCBN Sports. For Charlie Lentz and myself, I'm Zack Schteingart.